Justin Jones, director of the UVU Herbert Institute. Thanks for coming, Justin.
You bet. I'm glad to be here.
So really quick, what can you tell me, what is fintech to you?
For me, fintech, I don't know a lot about it, but what I know is that I can use my phone to buy things. I can also use technology to help me with my finances, regardless of where I'm at or what I'm doing or what I need to do. The idea that you're marrying finance and technology together to really be more efficient and to get a bigger return is what I understand fintech to be.
So being the director of the Herbert Institute, I know the Herbert Institute is made primarily for kind of to bridge the gap between the community and the school. What do you do specifically here that's not mentioned on your website? What are some of your initiatives that you're proud of?
While serving as the chief of staff to the president in 2016, 2017, I realized that UVU was the only institution in the state that didn't have a center or an institute focused on engaging students with public policy and politics. And so I went to the president with the idea, and this is before Governor Herbert had left office.
So this is your baby then?
This is an idea, yes, that came to me because we were the only institution that didn't have a really focused attention on getting students, interning in congressional or legislative offices. We didn't have a place for candidates who wanted to run for statewide or local elections, a place for them to come and interact with students. So we began the process. We approached then Governor Herbert. This is pre-COVID, so we were able to meet with him in person. And you know what I was really impressed with when we met with him is he didn't want just a name on an institute or on a building. He wanted a program that would actually engage students in public policy conversations. So we really narrowed it down to three things. One, leadership, future leaders. There was a time when Gary Herbert in high school took classes at what was then Utah Tech College, or actually Utah Tech Institute. And he took a drafting class that then paid off in helping him build his real estate and development career. That paid off. And then someone like a Gary Herbert, who had a successful business, became passionate about public policy. He didn't like the direction of the city, the county, decided to run for county commission. He then became lieutenant governor. It wasn't that he grew up thinking, I'm going to be governor someday. He was passionate about some issues. We have thousands of students on this campus that every day come to class, and someday they're going to be upset about a city council decision or a decision Congress has made and decide to throw their hat in the ring. We are an institute that wants to prepare future leaders. Whether they don't vote now, we want them to vote. If they vote now, we want them to engage in campaigns or to become informed voters. And then others who want to make a career out of public policy, serving as an employee of the city, county, or state, we want to help them understand good public policy. So we lead, we gather the community. As was mentioned, we love to bring speakers in. We've had former vice presidents. A vice president of the United States has never been to UVU. Even a candidate or a consideration, we've had 4 in the last 3 years come to Utah Valley University because of Governor Herbert and because we exist. It's been a wonderful opportunity to share with students and expose them to these incredible leaders of our community, regardless of party. We are nonpartisan, but we help expose students to public policy conversations and leaders. The third thing is trust, which is hard. It's important in fintech to have the trust of your consumers, of your clients, your business, right? Government and institutions all across the spectrum are losing trust. People are losing trust in their institutions, including higher education, including our politicians, and elections and other things. And so what we do is we actually marry interested students, undergraduate students with faculty in mentoring, and they write some white papers. We've done it on election integrity. We're doing on data privacy and data security right now, working with the State Office of Data Privacy, authoring white papers to help industry and government come together to develop good public policy recommendations so that they actually stay out of the way, but provide the guardrails to protect citizens.
Ideally, that would be the situation, right?
Yeah.
Get out the way as much as possible, just keep everyone safe, right?
Yep.
So you do affect the regulatory landscape in Utah through all these actions, I assume, whether directly or indirectly. What have you seen come out of any of these white papers or any of these initiatives? What's something specific that you could point to that's something you're proud of?
You know, I'm just really proud of the students who have no idea what they're looking at. We're really proud of the students. I mean, they don't understand any part of what they're about to research, and they dive in, and within a matter of weeks, midway through the semester, they become experts. One recent example was leading up to last legislative session. We had a couple of students who dove in, the government records, every city, county, and state, just they suck in information about each citizen. And there are series and series of these records and how it's stored, and they just dove into that really complex situation of government collecting data.
Is that public information they're collecting, or?
Yes, some public and some not, but most of it's public, and it should be. It should be easily accessible. I should be able to go to a government agency. What do you have on me?
Right.
What? And frankly, it's just cumbersome. It's difficult. We made a series of recommendations leading up to the legislative session that then turned around a week later and became a bill. That bill then went through the House, the Senate, and went eventually to Governor Cox's office, and he signed our recommendations into law. Nice. These were sophomores and juniors in college that made these recommendations, of course, under the direction of faculty, but we're having an impact. Now, these students aren't going to go in and become data privacy experts, but they are going to always remember and have a resume and have a paper with their name on it. In fact, I have copies right here, right? This is Will and Grace. They wrote this paper with the faculty and were able to actually have an impact on legislation.
That's impressive. What are they doing now? Do you know?
This summer, one of them is actually interning in, oh my gosh, what country is it? He's interning for a consulate in
Oh, no way? A consulate?
and another one is actually interning for an AI data company here in Utah. I don't know the name of, but cool. They're having a great summer, and then they'll be back, and then they graduate next spring.
Nice. So, I mean, considering all your interactions with students, what would you say behavioral or soft skills are important to those in the fintech world?
You know, one of the things that I've noticed about students, especially, I mean, we were all there. We were young, and there's two things that I love. One is they have no fear. Sometimes they just like ask the most ridiculous questions, like, "Hey, can I deserve more?" Like in a raise, and I'm like, "Actually, you haven't done anything yet. Wait until you actually, do your work product. We'll talk." But second, they're also, but on the other side, sometimes they're afraid to ask questions and come in and say, "I don't understand exactly what you just asked me to do." So the internships, these experiences, actually producing a work product, for many of them, it's the first time they've had a job where they're asked to actually produce something. This isn't an assignment, write so many words, 1-inch margins, blah, blah, blah. This is actually producing a product that is thoughtful. They have to interview people, they have to interact, and in the end, they walk out with some confidence that they've talked to Governor Cox, Governor Herbert, they've talked to legislators, mayors, county commissioners about public policy issues that these leaders currently in our state are facing, and then they've been able to compile that, summarize it, and write a white paper. It's really thrilling to see them kind of evolve and find themselves, their voice.
So not just focusing on capabilities, but also being humble enough to learn more, because we all need to continue to learn more.
Yeah, these students, I love their energy. I love their willingness to learn and their willingness to admit they don't understand. And then they just go out with no fear. They just start, doing things that I'm like, wow, you did that? I would have never asked that question, but they got the answer. I also think it's amazing. Our community leaders are willing to take the time to spend time with students. Like, I could call, they'll never return my call. But these students will call and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll give you 2 hours of my afternoon to talk about why I'm successful and how I became successful." It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So you haven't worked in fintech. You've worked in academia most of your life, right?
Most of my career has actually been in public policy, government relations, representing agencies or companies at the legislature and Congress. And then I ended up here at Utah Valley University. I graduated from UVU and thought I was tired of driving to the Capitol or to downtown Salt Lake for 20 years, and decided I'd always lived in Utah County that I would love to work closer to home. And UVU was really a transformational place for me. I first generation college student. Had basically failed out. I had taken college algebra 5 freaking times, and I was just like, done. I am not going to pass. College isn't for me. It's not for my family. And I had a professor who pulled me aside and said, no, you can do this. You can do this. And he said, I'm going to give you an incomplete this semester for my college, but you're going to take college algebra first block of the summer. It's 6 weeks. It's 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every day for 6 weeks, and you're going to pass. And I got a B+. I'm like, it just changed. He took a minute to say, I know you're trying. I know you're doing a good job. And that transformed everything about me. And that was here at UVU. I went on to get a master's degree and realized actually I like education. It transformed my life, my kids' life. The trajectory of our family is completely different because one professor in particular took time to say, you are smart and you can do this.
What makes Utah enticing for fintech startups or big fintech companies to move here?
I think the magic of Utah and why fintech companies are successful here and startups is because of that partnership between fintech companies, their leaders, and the legislature, and the governor's office. They're willing to sit down and say, hey, listen, we've got an issue, or we need your help with this or that, and willing to actually put in those public policy guardrails if necessary. But also, they know when to get out of the way and let fintech innovation, let companies grow. And I mean, that's what we know works best, right, is when companies can just be in an environment where they can thrive and do well. That's the environment of Utah, and that's why I think it's successful.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else that you might want to talk about that we haven't covered?
The only thing I don't know whether it's applicable or not, but every day I come to work with 19 to 25-year-old students, and some would say, oh my gosh, this next generation, like I don't know what's going to happen. I come to work every day seeing them and seeing their passion for public policy or for interest in their community. They want to be smart, they want to do great for their employer, but they're also passionate about the direction of our state, in our county, in our cities. This generation of students, we're going to be in good hands moving forward. And I'm excited for them. We offer things here at UVU that I wish you and I could have really benefited from, practical experience and leaving college with a resume. And the fact is, I'm really optimistic about the future. This next generation of leaders will be phenomenal in helping Utah continue to be successful economically and as well as socially, and for families and for the rest of us to continue to live here. At UVU, we have a close relationship with business, and that relationship also goes beyond UVU. It's with BYU, the University of Utah, Weber State. Also, our tech college, Mountain Land Tech, it is an incredible. We need skills at all levels, basic programming all the way to master's and higher level education. The fact is, we've got a terrific environment. In fact, Governor Herbert would often say it's Utah's secret sauce, where we work together. We don't necessarily compete. Sure, we compete for some students, but the fact is, we know our role versus BYU or the University of Utah, and working together, we're able to attract and really benefit the economy and our student population in a really unique and wonderful Silicon Slopes environment that helps business, students, and families thrive.
Yes.